Hello and welcome back to Xpwaste, where bingo, bango, bongo. I'm Michael.
And I'm Oxie. If you're new around here, welcome. We're a podcast that talks about old school RuneScape a lot. That's kind of our whole shtick, is we're an old school RuneScape podcast. So if you're looking for RuneScape content, that's great to sit on your second monitor and not directly pay attention to, just sort of like listen to. We're the perfect place for that. And I imagine you're going to be playing old school RuneScape while you do that. So yeah, you found the right place. If you're not new around here, we survived the draft. Once again, a record number of captains and a record number of players, and we got done in a record number of times. So shout out to the captains and co-captains for getting through the draft and having minimal issues. And yeah, we're looking all good. By now, you guys should know your teams. Yeah, it's bingo season, baby. Michael, how have you been?
Bingo, bango, bongo. I'm good. I'm excited. The time this episode comes out, if you're listening to it on release day, bingo starts in about 48 hours-ish, give or take. It's going to start Saturday, May 4th at, 2 p.m. GMT, which is about 10 a.m. Eastern. And I'm excited. I'm excited for bingo. I want to make a last-minute announcement. I know I've been talking for months that I was going to be playing on my group Ironman, and in the fourth quarter, right before the event, I'm making a switch to my normie. I don't even call it my main because it's not my main account. It's my normal account, my normie alt. It's my maxed account, whatever you want to call it.
Main.
I've been struggling with
It's
whatever.
your maxed main, Michael.
Maxed normie. Because technically, your main account is whatever account you play on the most, right? You would say that Oxiem is your main account. So
I think in the context of old school RuneScape, main is more a reference to whether or not you can use the GE.
yeah.
Like yes, my main account is the one that I play on the most, but I don't know if it's directly to like, well, it's not my main anymore. It's just a regular old account. Like, I think the type of account is a main.
Yeah.
You know?
I've been struggling with like how to define it, I guess. And I've been using normie more often. I think that's like how Ironmen usually talk about accounts that are not an Ironman. I wouldn't call myself an Ironman player. I just happen to be playing most frequently on a group Ironman.
Huh?
Well, because like, would you actually categorize group Ironman as Ironman? I feel like it's a category of its own. You know, like I play an Ironman. Well, kind of. I play a group Ironman.
I don't discriminate. All helms are stinky.
My normie isn't my main, but I'm not an Ironman player. I don't know where I'm at. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what my identity is in this community.
Good God.
So, anyway, I'm not going to be playing on my Ironman. I'm going to be playing on my normal account, my main, if you will, if that's easier to say. And I'm still excited. I'm still excited. It's going to be a little bit different of an event for me, I think, because whereas I was excited to do all of the kind of like mid-game account progression-y type of stuff, I think without giving away tiles, and it's going to look different. I guess we'll talk more next week.
He's going to do all the mid-game progression stuff, but an account that can trade on the Grand Exchange.
Like, okay, so if this was last bingo or two bingos, let's say this is Springo 23, and there are XP tiles. If I was playing on my group Ironman, I would be more inclined during the work week to like do those XP tiles than on my maxed account who doesn't need XP. I'm not going to be sitting there woodcutting or mining or whatever the XP tiles were for Springo 23. During Springo 23, when I had off time, I was like AFK killing Vyres, or I was AFK killing elves. I was doing stuff that is more AFK, but that would result in a different tile. So that's where I'm at with like looking at this event a little bit differently, just thinking about what my week is going to look like, because I wasn't thinking that I would be able to do like TOB on my group Ironman. Yes, I probably could get dragged through it. But now, if I have access to the Grand Exchange and I have access to all my gear, which I do, it's going to look different. And it's still exciting, just a little bit disappointing. And the catalyst for why it's not happening is really just came down to time and not being able to complete the goals that I wanted to complete, which in hindsight, in retrospect, like not having Dragon Slayer 2, not having a Zenite, not having an Ornate Pool are not prohibiting me from doing it. It's just that I think my account is not in a place that it should be currently as a captain, as somebody who is supposed to be leading the charge, able to do group content, being there for the team, picking up the slack, that kind of stuff. It's not in that place yet. I hope to be more kind of in line with where we kind of expect captains to be account wise by fall bingo. And then I'll, TBD if I'm going to be playing on the group Ironman at fall bingo. Because realistically, by fall bingo, or at least the fall in general, I should have Quest Cape. I should have most of for my account, I should have most of the best in slot items. I should have a lot more boss KC because the things that I'm wanting to get are definitely attainable. It just wouldn't have been attainable before bingo started. So gonna be playing on my max account, which still feels like a private server. And maybe it won't as I get into the week of playing it. It'll become more normal again, but it still feels like I've logged into an account that like I shouldn't have 1,200 prayer potions. I mean, on a normal account, you really shouldn't have 1,200 prayer potions because like you don't need that many all stacked up at once. But like when I did my Herblore grind,
you do. For bingo,
Sure.
you do.
Well, like as a normal account, you can just go to the Grand Exchange and buy them. I'm saying having 1,200 prayer potions is pretty excessive when it comes to having.
What I'm saying is like it's much better to have the supplies than to not. So if you have to be overkill for bingo, this is a tip for all you mains out there playing the way Guthix intended with the Grand Exchange. You can't have too much supplies going into bingo. You might have to sell some of it off in case you want to buy an item or something more specific as the event goes on. But like if you cannot overload yourself with supplies, promise you that.
Right. I think the caveat to that is like if you don't have the money to buy 500 brews to have 500 brews, like if the decision is I need supplies or I need gear is probably more important if you can scrape by with minimal supplies. Or somebody can lend you them. I don't know. You feel like it's the other way around? Like
other way around. As someone who has done his fair share of the hardest content in the game with the shittiest gear in the game, not quite the shittiest, but like, I've done the Inferno and Blessed Hide. I've done Theater of Blood in a fighter torso with obby legs before. I still wear Dragon Boots G as my best in slot. Like, it is way more effective to spend money on supplies than it is to spend money on gear. When you spend a little bit of money on supplies, you use that supplies to do a lot of content to help you get more drops to make more money. You spend a little tiny percentage of it. Like, let's say you spend 10% of a drop on supplies. You get a Zenite drop. You spend about 1 mil on supplies. That's still, 9 to 12 mil sitting around in your bank that you could accumulate for other stuff. And then if you stock up ahead of time, it really just breaks up the flow when you have to like, oh, we're really excited to go to DKs and we're prepping and we're doing all this stuff. But like, I only have 3 prayer pots, For main accounts, it throws it off a little bit, but for irons, it really will disrupt everything. So if you're hearing this and for some reason you haven't started prepping specifically as a stinky helmet man, go off and do prep now because you're not going to want to like stop doing content to like go push farm runs or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. That's a good point.
Yeah, it's always supplies over gear. Always.
The main thing that kind of like discouraged me, I was so excited too. I was like, I'm going to get whatever it is. I stopped at 82 because I was going to do a +5, but I was going to get an ornate rejuvenation pool, which would have made doing content during bingo just a little bit more comfortable. It's like super comfy. You don't have to waste food, or you don't have to go back to Ferrex Enclave. And I got really excited. Like, I was doing construction for a while. Spent a lot of money to bank it to get to 82. I have actually 84 banked, but I got the +5 boost, and I had Antivenom Plus or Antidote Plus in my inventory. I was like, why can't I make the pool? Like, I have all the ingredients. I tried again. It was like, you don't have the required potions. Like, I do. I have them. And my brain didn't put 2 and 2 together that you need antivenoms, not Antidote Plus. I thought it was Antidote Plus. So looked, and the only way to get antivenoms is through Herblore. You can get the Antidote Plus without, having the Herblore level, but like, I guess what's the point at that? You still need 82 with a +5 boost to make the antivenoms. So looks like I'm doing a lot of farm runs from now until I have the required amount of herbs for either me to get the level, or I'll give them to TMD and he gets the level. But however it looks, I'll probably need to farm somewhere in the ballpark of like 5,000 irits to be able to make all of the attack potions, or like I can switch it up between quorums and irits, because those are the 2 easiest ones to get secondaries for, to be able to get to 82 and then hope for a +5 boost. Or it's, I think, 84 with a +3, because I don't remember if the botanical pie is a +3, but or whatever the pie is that gives you Herblore. But that was one of the main kind of reasons. Like, fine, I'll just play on my other account, and we'll save this one for fall bingo. And I plan to do consistent herb runs and other AFK stuff during bingo while I'm playing. I'll play on both accounts essentially, and still train this one and get it ready for fall bingo. But that's been my week. Once I figured out that like I'm not playing on this account, I kind of just went back to doing nothing. I did some bone shard mining during work, and I have nearly 80 prayer banked, which is kind of cool. I'm doing it all in like the blessed bone shards. So currently I am I have 42 bones, but I'm almost done blessing the bones and chiseling them down. And then I'll go and I'll do it's pretty easy. I guess you just like use wine and you, what is that called? Sacrifice the bone shards for prayer XP. But that's been my week since we last talked. How's agility going for you?
Hello, I'm back with a cat because she would not shut up while Michael was talking about his week. Agility's been good. We're about 500k left to 96. iPad goes insanely hard for agility. It's boring as all get out because I'm just doing rooftops. Horribly boring. But yeah, that about sums up agility and how that's been going, I guess. I don't know. Specifically with agility.
So with your iPad, do you have YouTube Premium, by the way? Or just regular? Okay. I don't know if you can do this with regular YouTube or if you have to have YouTube Premium.
Screen within a screen works for regular YouTube.
Like where you can just swipe out of it and yeah. That's how I did a lot of my iPad training, is I would just put my put the little video I was watching up near where the minimap is, and then you still have access to most of the screen, because you don't really need the minimap when you're doing agility. I guess you can, but yeah, picture-in-picture definitely goes hard with doing agility or any sort of mobile gaming, really, where you don't need to pay attention. I remember watching a lot of Northern UIM. I think it's Jeoparite. Yeah, Jeoparite's Northern UIM series when I was doing Herblore. Pretty much the whole time. I was trying to go slow because I know that he only releases a video like once a year. But I was getting caught up on that series while I was doing Herblore.
Been interacting with Jeoparite more and more in in a stream. He's
Oh,
good
nice.
friends with a streamer that I've been watching recently. And he beat me by barely just beat me in an OSRS Pictionary game about like a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago at this point maybe. So he's a busy man. He's doing a lot of editing, but should we leak a bingo tile?
Sure.
For reference, Xpwasters, I'm not super keen to what's on the board. Leak the whole board? No, I don't think we're going to do that.
What are we going to leak?
I think that's up to you. I think we can choose a singular tile, and we could
How
say...
about we just put the tile on the screen with no context?
Sure. So on the screen or something now is a tile.
I'm going to post it in recording view chat.
Okay. So yeah, on the booth, in the screen, whatever it is now, that is, yeah, bingo tile, baby. No explanation, no words. We'll let you guys infer what it is. The recording booth chat took all of 4 seconds to figure it out.
No, they're still speculating.
It only took them that long.
Because swiping left on that tile, Chaos Cleric. Tiki says it's full Lederhosen. Francine says it's forestry. Who knows? Maybe it is get a piece of Lederhosen from a random event. Maybe it is get something from forestry. You guys don't know because all the tile is just somebody sitting down wearing Lederhosen.
So you guys know what it is.
That would be fantastic fashionscape for RuneFest, by the way. Full Lederhosen, just walking around with your little mug and maybe an axe on your back. That would be so much fun. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to cosplay it up for RuneFest. Like, I have the mole slippers, but I've been highly advised not to wear them. So then I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I could wear them for a little while and maybe just put them in my backpack or something when my feet get sore. But I really just want to like full send it and do something fun for RuneFest. Have you thought about doing cosplay?
I am going to wear my Mitchie Fox Duke Succulus shirt one day, and then I'm probably gonna wear an XP shirt the other day. And I'm gonna wear my big ass adventure hat. I'm not gonna cosplay because I don't know how to make good cosplay. I've tried and I'm not particularly great at it. So I'm gonna be RuneScape adjacent enough where like I don't need to do anything like that. I also don't want to travel with a bunch of cosplay shit. So
right,
yeah,
it would take if you wanted to have like a full dragon armor set, you'd have to like mail that to somebody like in advance. Because I don't know, how would you get that in a suitcase where it's not going to get damaged?
You ship it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, you ship it out there. Or anyway, RuneFest, I was just thinking about it because of the Lederhosen. That would be kind of fun to do. But besides agility, what else have you been up to? I know you're skill hopping around a little bit. You told me you got some woodcutting XP and some fishing XP.
No, I didn't tell you those things. You stalked my account on Wise Old Man and DM'd me and said, Tisk, you only got 30k agility these last couple of days. What have you been doing? And I was like, what? And you're like, oh, I see you've been woodcutting and fishing. I'm like, stay away from my account high scores. Huh? Man's got FOMO so hard he won't leave my wise old man alone.
No, I wasn't your wise old man. I was just looking at the side panel and I noticed some things had changed because I don't look at your account every day. That'd be weird, wouldn't it?
But he knows without a tracker how much I've gained or lost.
Well, like, okay.
So,
I do.
Anyways,
I do keep tabs on your...
no, it's okay, Stocky McStalkerson. We're all good. We understand. Yeah, we've been doing raids when we're not doing agility because we're doing a lot of skilling at work. And if we can crack off a couple 100k in one of the skills I don't have to 99, I've been feeling comfortable not spending the evenings doing that. So, but this week, am I editing this week? I don't know. I don't know who's doing what this week. So if I'm editing this week, I'll be doing a lot of agility. either way, I'll be doing a lot of agility because I'm going to be doing remote work for the next couple of days for the next several months. So yeah.
Get any purples?
No.
That's unfortunate.
Just white lights.
Well, damn. Well, at least you're saving your RNG for bingo, right?
Well, I don't know about that. Chaos Cleric says, take me to Tob. I don't know how to Tob. I would. I don't know, yeah.
He's never tobbed in his life, guys.
Didn't you Tob the other day, Chaos? Didn't you go on your first Tob the other day? Like Troll and Fear?
I think he went on his first TOA.
No, I think
what
it was
he did?
his first Tob.
My brain read TOA.
Read TOA, saw the reward room at Tob, and thought, yeah, this is Tombs of a Mascot. Though you did just admit you're going to be doing Tob during bingo, so if there's Theater of Blood on the board.
These are all hypotheticals. If there's Theater of Blood on the board.
I think
even Oxie doesn't know, guys. That tile reveal was also revealing to him what it was.
I'm learning what it is now, too. I have access to the sheet, and I'm learning what it is now, too. So what are we talking about today?
Today is going to be a little dive, if you will, a little swan dive into the latest news post about forestry. Just kidding.
Forestry Part 3. Could you imagine the uproar if there was a Forestry Part 3? They're like, hey, we still don't like it. Here are more changes.
No, I'm just kidding. It's
like
Herblore. No.
Swan diving into a pile of empty vials.
Don't do that to anyone, Oxie. Nobody wants to talk about Forestry Part 3. It's like with the release of Varlamore, we bring you Forestry Part 17. They're just going like 3 years later. I don't think Forestry should have been in 2 parts, but that's a conversation for another day. Yes, we're talking about Herblore and the proposed new Herblore activity, which, if you didn't read the blog, we're not naming any names here today. It's basically Giant's Foundry mixed with Cooking Mama, and you're just making potions. So there is a lot of new terminology that they're using in this new activity. And so I'm not going to go into like hyper specifics because 1, it's a lot of information, and 2, it's probably all subject to change. So we do this fun thing where we talk about something pretty in depth, and we're kind of excited about it. You know, we get into the nitty gritty, and then on a Sunday, and then the day after our episode comes out, they're like, "Hey guys, we're scrapping the whole thing."
Yeah, it's the reason I say on a Sunday is because they usually release a blog on Monday, and then they do their server update on Wednesday for a prior blog or whatever. So the amount of times we've been like, all right, guys, this is going to be the coolest thing ever. This thing's called like the wand of a lidness or the wand of somebody, and it's going to increase the damage for all 4 different spell books. And it's going to be, what do you mean they scrapped it? What's the Tumekan Shadow? What do you mean they changed it? Like within the same week. So we're not good at that all the time. And I think it's just the cadence with which we record. My cat's also very upset. So if you're watching on YouTube and I just like get up and walk away while Michael's talking, I'm schmackling my big cat around because I don't know what she's so up in arms about.
What does she have to be upset about? Life is so good, Oxie. Life is so good. So what are we calling this? This is called, well, I guess it's just called Herblore Activity Part 2. That's the name of the blog. And they changed a bunch of stuff. So this original blog, let's see when this was released. They've already changed a bunch of stuff based on the survey. And so a kind of a brief overview is you go into a laboratory and there will be orders for new potions that you have to mix and make. And so you take your herbs, you put it in a machine, that machine turns it into a component, and then you mix that component with other things to make a new potion. And then you send those potions off to the citizens of Varlamore, if you will. The thing that I'm most concerned about is that their whole goal for this is it's not supposed to be a replacement for Herblore. They want to keep the classic training method of Herblore where you're standing at a bank and you're just mixing your potions 14 at a time. They want that to remain the best XP per hour that the game can offer. But this is supposed to be more intense, more click intensive than Giant's Foundry, and you're still using your own supplies.
So that means the rewards better be cracked, or else this is going to be a DOA update.
The rewards are decent. If you want to just like harp on the rewards, we can. I don't mind doing that because the method itself is it's in a very basic planning stage. Like they have a Microsoft Paint drawing of what the room is supposed to look like, and it's laid out with like they added a text box and a little and like colored squares essentially to show what the concept is. So all of this, like, I feel like if we get too into the weeds on what this Herblore activity is, it's really everything's subject to change. So I think the most interesting part of it is the rewards, and they have a few. Starting at the top, potion packs, pretty straightforward. You will take the points that you get or however they reward you, and you trade those in for potion packs. So technically, you are using your own herbs, but they still want to kind of reward you with potions that you could have been making with those herbs. An example is if, say, a type of like you get a point that is associated with a certain herb, and then the herb, the potion pack that you get from that herb will contain potions you can make with that herb. So if you have something where you use a toad flax and you get points for using your toad flax, you could get a Sarah brew if you have the level to make Sarah brews. So they're wanting to aim this activity at accounts with 70 plus Herblore, which again just feels off the top rack. It kind of feels bad that this isn't the best in slot training method if you're going to be using your own herbs. Unless like the herb to point ratio is good, it would feel really bad to be like, I'm getting 30k an hour and I've used my entire stack of Renar potions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you have to go, as an Iron Man, you have to go and farm them. This, like, the whole grief and the whole gripe really is geared at an Iron Man mindset, because as a main account or as a normal account, you literally just go to the grind exchange and buy them. And at that point, it becomes is the money to point ratio going to be worth it? If you have to spend 5 mil on a stack of Herblore supplies and you get a few potion packs out of it, it's really not worth it to do it, because your XP gained, like your GP to XP ratio, is really low. The other one, the next reward they're proposing is the Potion of Goading, which this one actually seems pretty neat. Really, it's just it's a potion that will set an aggro square around you. So if monsters lose their aggro, you can drink a dose of the potion to re-aggro them, which I think is kind of useless. But where it could become pretty useful is places like Dust Devils or Necreals or Bloodvelds. In areas where monsters are not aggroed to you naturally, a sip of this potion will start to aggro all these monsters in an 8x8 radius around you. So technically, if you're standing in the middle of the room in the Dust Devils or in the Necreals area, you could just continue to, ice barrage or continue to burst, and it would essentially mean you could be more AFK during bursting tasks if you wanted to. So the Potion of Goading is pretty cool. Next is the Reagents Pouch. It's a way to store Herblore secondaries. They mentioned not like allowing this into the Inferno or specific places where it may be broken. But to me, I can't conceptualize a way that having Herblore secondaries would be broken, because like, are you just going to take unfinished potions? I don't know. Unless there's a way to have like unfinished potions and secondaries in there, then to me it doesn't seem like it's worth it. Tiki says the herb stack plus the reagents. Don't smash the vials, humidify. Oh, okay. I mean, there you go. That's the way to do it, I guess. Don't smash your vials, bring humidify. You have unlimited potions. So it's cool that they're thinking about that. Next up is the Alchemist set, which is basically just a skilling set for Herblore. It's going to give you essentially a 10% chance to save a secondary ingredient when mixing potions. And all you would need for that is the goggles. Everything else is going to be just Fashionscape. There's a couple more. The Amulet of Chemistry Imbued is a way that you can imbue a necklace with Amulet of Chemistry charges so that you don't have to keep, changing out your Amulet of Chemistry if you're going to be making potions. Pretty cool. And it provides a 15% chance to give you a 4-dose rather than whatever the normal Amulet of Chemistry is. This one is probably the most, the next two are probably the most hyped ones. And this is probably where we'll spend most of our time. One of the rewards that they want to offer is something called a pre-pot device. And I'll read straight from the blog. It says, why drink one potion when you could create a cocktail, flavors, and effects for any occasion? This special device lets you insert doses from up to 5 different potions and drink them all at once. This device will come with some elements of presets to make the accessing and swapping between pre-pot needs as easy as pie. We're going to make sure this powerful effect is balanced appropriately. However, players will only be allowed to use this item within a bank or next to a bank chest. The team is open to using this item in other areas, but we'll explore that once we've locked in the reward. So essentially, if you know you're going to be drinking a Divine Super Combat, a Divine Range, and maybe an Angler, they haven't talked about that, if food will be allowed. But essentially, all the potions that you normally would just drink in succession when you're going to be pre-potting for your content, you could just have one click. It does all of that, and it uses all 5 of those potion doses at once.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're not going to let Divines go into this.
You don't think so?
No, 100%. I could be wrong. I could be blissfully incorrect in this, but this does not seem like something that they'll allow Divines into. I don't know why, but I read this and I'm like, yeah, Divines aren't going to work with this. For some reason, when it's come to Herblore buffs in the past, Divines have not worked. You look at pot share, for example, which makes sense, but I don't know if they're going to allow you to take a potion that actively harms you with this pre-pot device. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I can get Divine Super Combat, Divine Range, Stamina, Anti-Poison, or Anti-Venom, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I hope that's the case.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
But I just have a weird feeling in my bones that Divine Potions aren't going to work here.
There could be something weird with like drinking a potion that damages you. That could be a limitation that they have. But for gameplay reasons, I don't really see how having a Divine Potion would be that broken.
I don't think it would.
Again,
I don't think it would. I think it would be a welcome addition if they allowed Divines in that, because it saves, I don't think it increases like kills per hour at like a raid, for example, but it just does, it's quality of life. I just have an uncomfortable feeling in my bones that it's not going to work.
Well, hopefully you're wrong.
Hopefully
you're wrong. And that may be part of their community consultation, is asking players if that's something that they want to allow. Because right now they're just going off of like a concept of, hey, would you want this type of device to be in the game? And then I'm sure we'll get into the nitty-gritty once it's greenlit to say, this is how it works. Or, these are the things that can go in. Because I think it's not just potions that people usually will pre-pot. Now, having all of your potion doses in one click will significantly reduce the amount of clicks that you have, so that it takes, if you're pre-potting a bunch of potions and you're in your imbued heart, and like you said, you're doing all of these potions anyway. I think the lineup will probably be pre-pot device, imbued heart for some content, an angler, a shark, whatever. Those will be the things that you normally have to do. It'd be cool if they added food in there, but again, I can see that would be just like, it wouldn't be thematic, I guess.
Yeah.
To say this can do potions and you just like take a bite out of the side of it and it's the equivalent of a shark. And then the last reward on this blog is potion storage. I've seen this one have like the most chatter about how this could work and how people want it to work and if people even want it at all. But apparently this is the most requested item in all of Herblore, which is a storage solution that will finally free your bank slots from the tyranny of potions. The blog goes on to say, essentially, after unlocking this item, a new element of the bank will allow you to place potions into it without taking up standard bank slots. You'll be able to still place potions inside the regular bank if you want faster access to specific doses. So no longer are we going to be plagued with, however many potions you have, needing to have slots 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the different potion doses. They basically just turn into placeholders because most of the time you're going to be decanting them back into 4 doses or 3 doses to use them. There are some instances where having a 1 dose is nice, but if we have the pre-pot device, having a stack of 1 dose potions isn't necessarily all of that useful. Certain content, you may not want to have a super combat and an anti-venom and a stamina, so maybe you still would keep 1 dose stamina potions, like if you're doing blast furnace or something. But the potion storage basically gives you the freedom to choose and to have a set number of bank slots back, which is really nice because the more and more that they add content into this game, like with the new Varlamore, so many items now taking up bank space. All of the new...
That's why we buy more slots, baby.
Oh my... What if... Yeah, I mean, I guess you could just stop being a hoarder. Me, talking to myself. Just stop being a hoarder and actually get rid of clue items that I know I don't need. Or, quest items or put stuff in the house. But it's so convenient just to have stuff in my bank most of the time. But, not having to have potions... Definitely a wonderful addition. Now, I think initially they were asking people where this would be useful. And I think there was even talks of like, do we put potion storage in the house, in the player-owned house? Do we put it outside the bank? Do we put it as a addition to the bank? And I think with the survey results that they got, I think they've landed on this is going to be part of the bank. Because I remember a lot of the chatter when this blog came out was people were saying like, what about Ultimate Iron Man? Are they going to now have access to potion storage in their house if they allow it in the house? But reading through the blog now, it doesn't say anything about having stuff in your house. It really is just saying stuff is going to be going. It's like a little side tab to your bank.
I hate to be a negative Nancy about it because it really is not my style on this show. I don't see myself utilizing a potion storage. Because I have 16 different potions in my bank that I use. I guess regularly enough. Like I could probably put the super combat, like the regular super combats. No, I use regular super combats all the time. I could probably put the extended anti-fire and anti-venom pluses in a potion storage. But like, again, yeah, I hate to sound like negative because I don't think it's a bad update. I think it'd be a good addition to the game, but like, I don't see myself utilizing it, especially if it's going to take longer to get these potions out, Like, if it's a simple thing, sure, I'm not opposed to it, but like, at the same time, if it's really going to throw off the groove of like getting ready to do content, like I said earlier, if it's going to, I don't know, if it's going to disrupt the flow of going from one activity to another because you have to go to like a second or third interface to get these potions out. And then what are you doing? Are you putting them right into your inventory or are you putting them into your bank and then putting them into your inventory? Speaking of, I just got a Dr. Jekyll thing, which I'm going to drop on the floor because I don't eat that shit. But like,
yeah, that's a great question. I think that is something that's like still up in the air. Like, because you make a great point. Say you have like, you just got done doing bossing or Slayer or whatever, and you have a bunch of 3-dose and 2-dose potions in your inventory, and you click on the bank all. Is it going to automatically know that those 2 and 3 and 1 dose don't go in your bank?
Yeah.
Are we going to have to continually move them? Because that would be something that would deter me from using it, is if I hit the bank all, and now suddenly my 2 dose, my 3 dose, and my 1 dose all go back into my bank, and I have to keep moving them. Versus if it knows intuitively you don't have any 3 dose in this part of your bank, does it automatically put them in the potion storage? Because I could see that being very useful if you only kept your 4 dose in your bank and you kept your 3, 2, and 1 in a separate potion storage side of the bank, and it could automatically sort them. And then, if you ran out of 4 dose, then you just go to your potion storage and you take them out. The thing that's most equates to, I think, what they may be thinking is the seed vault. And that system, not great. One, it's not at every bank. It's only at the farming guild, and you can't access it from your bank. So you have to kind of remember which seeds you have with you and that go in the bank, and then not bank them and then take them to the seed vault. But say you're not in the farming guild, then you have to remember, I need to go to the farming guild now. So if it's a system like that where it's completely separate and you have to remember to go to this special place separately and do a bunch of inventory management, that just doesn't seem like it's going to be used. And you have to unlock it too. So it's another whole process of doing this Herblore activity to get enough points to unlock it, and then you may never even use it. So it's all up in the air, I guess, at this point.
I'll give you guys this piece of advice, right? Just organize your Herblore tab. If you go online, RuneScape potion tab, RuneScape food tab, look up what a good example is, right? Organize your tab, and it won't be such a nightmare for bank space.
Yeah.
Right? I keep my food, my potions, and my food/potion-esque things in the same tab. So mantas, cromboans, anglers, sharks, the old pre-pot tuna, my Guthix rest teas, any boosts for things. Like I have my summer pies in there back from when I needed a boost for Hydra. I have curries and, like I said, pies in there for if I do Chaos Elemental or something like that. And then I have all my potions, divine and otherwise. Go through your bank and organize your potion tab. And then if you're on the higher level, right, and you're a main account, do you need super attack, super strength, and super defense? Do you need those 3? Or do you think we can just buy super combats? Do you think we need regular anti-poisons? Or do you think we can just buy antidotes? Right? Those are good ways to condense bank space without, not that I'm saying this is going to be a bad update. I think right now I'm in the camp of it seems like a fine choice, just like the seed vault. The seed vault doesn't hurt the game. It doesn't hurt me, I don't use the seed vault on my Iron Man because I don't really care to sort through that kind of stuff, But I don't know, Tiki gave an example of his bank. It's very organized. Why do we need regular anti-venoms? Oh, because I'm an Iron Man and I need to make them. Why do we have what looks like Serum 207, somewhere in the bank? At some point, we can part with some of that stuff. Again, it's a more main account focused rant, but I just think it's yeah.
This is probably different account types and different account stages will have different uses and different priorities for use. Whenever you first start out and maybe you don't have the money to buy bank space, this would be a great way to kind of condense all of your potions down to one area, and it would save you bank space for other activities. If you like to collect things, right now I have 1, 2, 3, 5. I have 12 spaces in my bank just dedicated to burnt food because I like to collect that thing. And so, we all play this game very differently, but I think you are, you're right in some aspect that this will be useful for some and not useful for others. And there's ways around actually needing it if that's the play style you want to go with.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's a problem. Just I'm not, I don't know if I'll be utilizing it. I'll have to probably see it in action. I bet you in a couple of months, I'm going to get memed on. Like, you said you'd hate it, and like it's actually pretty cracked. But like at the moment, it just doesn't appeal to me right now. I would rather have the accessibility of the stuff in my bank than have to jump through extra hoops to take it out of my bank. Because I have a very well organized potion and food tab, and like I don't know, I'm fine with it as it is. It's very disappointing that this is not going to be a competitive XP thing.
Yeah.
The minute you said, like, yeah, this isn't going to be like a utilizable training method long term, you have to bring your own herbs, and it's not going to be the best XP per hour for that herb. People, I think Tiki mentioned it earlier, they're going to do the content, get the rewards, and not come back.
Mm-hmm.
So this is going to be trouble brewing too, because the XP is not on par with the significantly less effort that it will take to do like bank standing Herblore. Right. I think again it'll be a good addition. I think I don't know when this is slated to come out. I don't know when part 2 is on the docket to be released. There's a good chance I already have 99 Herblore by the time this comes out, so I don't know if this is going to be mega relevant for me when it comes out. But again, obviously, if the potion storage is cracked, I'm going to participate in it. I don't think it's like a bad update or a stupid update. The only thing I've seen any real contention about is the potion of goading, because I've seen some discourse on Twitter that people are not thrilled about the potion of goading. Vengor says, God, fuck Twitter. I mean, the discourse I've seen isn't like, boo, RS3 stinky bad. Like yes, that's obviously some of it, but some of the stuff that I've seen from people I follow is more like something about it just doesn't feel right. And I don't know if I'm very like middle of the road with this. Like I think it has its uses. I think it throws other things like the Din's Bulwark out of contention. Like it does seem a little redundant at times, you know. I understand the purpose of it, right? But I don't think, again, I don't know. This is the only thing I've seen that's been a bit contentious is the aggro pots, and people just aren't super keen on it. I don't know. I wish I could really pinpoint why, but again, I think maybe it's just like it's redundant. You know, we have a lot of things that already aggro enemies.
So besides the Din's Bulwark, what are you throwing darts?
I mean, specifically for burst tasks, yes. I mean,
yeah.
It's a small quality of life. Yeah, we have the Venator bow too. Like, it's a small quality of life. Again, I don't think it's a bad addition. Just, from what I've seen, there's a little bit of like, I don't know about that one. It's probably going to be, if I was a betting man, this is going to be an 80 plus potion to make. If it's not, I'll be very surprised if it's not an 80 plus potion. But Wildy next with this aggro potion is going to be pretty good. I mean, I would believe that. I believe Necroils, Abyssal Demons, Bloodvelds outside of the Darkmire, wherever, where you can cannon them. I imagine it's going to be very good for AFK Slayer training, which like is cool. That's not going to lie. That is a good quality of life update. But yeah, I don't know. It's just what I've seen is people are like, I don't know about this one. And maybe it's for the redundancy of it, but yeah.
Besides what you've seen, what do you think? Are you kind of agreeing with the I don't know, we'll see how it looks kind of mentality?
I mean, yeah. I have 99 Slayer and really only actively train Slayer 2 weeks out of the year for bingo. So like for me, for like aggroing, it'd be useful to aggro like crabs. But my question and concern with this is like, if I don't have an aggro potion and I'm killing ammonite crabs, and someone with an aggro potion runs up and pops it, or is my aggro timer just like over? Like if my aggro timer's reset and they come up with a fresh aggro timer and an aggro pot, or we're both logged out on the same tile and nothing is aggressive to us anymore, if I go reset my aggro naturally and they use an aggro pot, who are the NPCs going to prioritize?
Right.
Because that could lead to a lot of griefing of like, hey, what's your Herblore level? 67? Cool. Glug, 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 glug. Get fucked. Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that could be a possible issue, but again, I don't know the specifics of how this works enough to judge it on that hypothetical, but I don't know. good for AFK Slayer, I guess.
Oh, it'd be amazing for AFK Slayer. And the hard thing is we go, like, as you progress your account, like, you're looking at this update very meh, right? Because you're going to have 99 Herblore, your 99 Slayer. A lot of the stuff that would come out of this, besides one or two, don't really come into play for the account that you're currently playing. But I'm looking at this a little bit different, not in the sense that like I need this stuff, but if I was making a brand new account or I was playing on a lower level account, having the Amulet of Chemistry Eye would be great. Having the Alchemist set would be great. Having the reagents pouch, pretty amazing, just for like being able to optimize the way that you train and looking at it and from the view of this is more like mid-game content, because that's when you're going to be using it most often. Because like we said last week, when you get to a certain point training Herblore, you don't have to train it anymore. You could get to 90 for raids and just stop as a normal account, as a main account. No one really is forcing you to train Herblore past 90. And even then, with the way that they've changed chambers, you could just kind of get your own overdose potions as a drop. You don't really need to rely on somebody having 90 Herblore to make them. So at that point, is it 78 for like the Xerix Plus? Maybe. So the threshold of like needing to train Herblore as somebody who has access to the GE, it's pretty low. So whenever you're looking at these items, they don't seem all that exciting, but there are certain account types and account stages where I think this kind of minigame is probably more geared towards, which is fine.
I mean, don't get it twisted. Just because I'm beyond the scope of this content doesn't mean I think it's a shitty update. I'm going to participate in it to get to the rewards and then probably stop unless it is a legitimate kind of fun that I've not experienced in a while, which Varlamore has provided, so who knows. That said, I mean, I don't think it's bad because it's not designed for the end game. You know, I know you hate that mentality specifically, but you should know by now that's not how I feel. It's going to be an update, and I think it'll be fine. Disappointing that it's probably not going to be competitive for XP rates.
Yeah.
Because the first thing they say is a quick summary of changes at the top of the blog is investigating XP rates during balancing with your feedback in mind. So I don't know if that means they're going to increase them from what they originally proposed or they're going to decrease them because people thought they were too high. Either way, it's an L, right? Yeah. It's XP per hour is an L at this minigame. Unless I'm proven wrong, I love to be proven wrong. When I sit here and I read these blog posts about something that I've truly not even read through this blog enough to know, like I'm looking at the experience thing right now. We saw a lot of discussion around the activity, but it's clear that some of you need XP rates to make an informed decision. While we aren't going to be sharing experience rates in this news post, we want to make it clear that we've heard you and we're going to be taking feedback into the balancing stages. That doesn't tell me a fucking thing. This also goes for the breakdown of component value, blah, 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 blah. High tier herb to the roster for Torstals, cool. This activity is targeted at players with 70 plus Herblore. So it's not even a mid-game activity.
It's true.
Or not a mid-game iron activity anyways. I mean, maybe, depending on what your definition is. But like, the activity is free. You can leave it any time. You need to bring your own herbs or associated unfinished potions. So it's not free. It's expensive as shit. Okay.
Yeah. I think ideally, like if I was going to make an Herblore activity, I would want to make it closer to something like where you go into it with no supplies and maybe you spend some time picking herbs and you pick or farm your secondaries and then you can make whatever it is that they want you to make. Not that you have to come in with your stack of Renars or your stack of whatever potion ingredients you have and then you use it and it's still not be the best XP per hour. Because if this was a mini game where the XP per hour is pretty meh, but the rewards were decent, it would make more sense that you wouldn't have to use your own supplies. Because that's like taking the only reference I have is Giant's Foundry. It's like saying you have to use your rune bars and your addy bars, but you're going to get so much less XP for these bars than you would if you just sat on an anvil, and we're going to give you a +4 smithing boost. Like take the rewards you get from Giant's Foundry and like half the XP per hour. Because at least at the end of the day, Giant's Foundry is decent XP per hour and it's really good XP per bar. That's the only really saving grace of Giant's Foundry and why people do it.
Of course. What are the most effective herbs? Raynarweed, Snapdragon, Torstal, Quarm, and Irrit. So 2 of the components for a super combat potion, a component to make a super combat potion, as well as like anti-venoms with a Torstal, I'm pretty sure. And then the 2 most important expensive herbs for prayer with super restores and prayer potions. They did that on purpose, obviously, but to then nerf that and say like XP is going to be worse. I don't know. I mean, they're going to give you potions for it. I don't care a ton about this update. I wished when I texted you this morning, I wanted it to be cooler, or last night whenever we talked about it, I wanted this update to be cooler, and I was really hoping it was going to be more exciting, but from what I am gathering as a pretty middle of the road XP per hour and remarkably more expensive than I would want to spend on a minigame. Because at least with Giant's Foundry, there's some return on investment, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's some return on investment because you get cash for every sword you create. So it's not like great, but like you're refunded the price of a bar or 2. You know? I don't know if cash comes with a part of this. I've not seen that it does, if it does or does not. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm sitting with this. Maybe I'll give this one another read through on my own time.
I'm right there with you in the sense that this is like disappointing if they don't make this at least viable per, with XP per hour. I think that's like where I've landed with this update as a whole, potentially. It may not even get greenlit. We're just kind of speculating based on the blog that they released with what they could be doing. But I'm hoping that they get enough good feedback of people who are thinking like us to say, if you're going to make us use our own herbs, make it at least comparable to what you could get with those herbs outside of the activity. I'm not saying you need to be able to use 14 herbs at a time. What is it? Every probably 30 seconds or whatever it is, how long it takes to make 14 potions. But if you're going to be using your own supplies, I think you should be rewarded similarly to if you were going to be using those supplies outside of the minigame. But I guess there's more to come with this update. This is just one of the things that they talked about with Varlamore Part 2 that's coming. I think it's one of the big things that is slated for that area is this, and I think an agility course of some sort that's going to be coming to Varlamore Part 2.
And the joint boss, probably more quests.
Yeah. So a lot more discussion coming with Varlamore Part 2, which makes me think, based on them saying that this isn't even, this is in early development stages, we're not getting Varlamore Part 2 for a while. With them they can't even give us a fleshed out area map. This is an MS Paint style map. We're not getting Varlamore for a while.
We're not going to blame them for that, right? They're not going to render shit for content they don't know is going to make it into the game. Don't do that. Because damn well they probably have an idea cooked up. They just haven't fully realized it yet.
Well, I just mean, I thought we were getting Varlamore Part 2 soon. As in, within the next 3 to 5 months. But from what it looks like, they're still developing content. So I don't see us getting Varlamore until the later half of this year, maybe early next year. With the with the cadence of how they release content, if it's still in early development stages, it's going to be a while, especially with other bigger projects that they're working on. I'm not trying to blame anybody and say that they're not working fast enough. I'm just saying, with the expectations that I had for Part 2, doesn't seem like it's going to happen within the time frame that I thought it was going to happen.
No, unfortunately, it's almost certainly not.
Yeah. Well, that is the Herblore activity. I think we should send these folks to break, unless you have any final thoughts.
No final thoughts.
All right, guys. Stick around after this potentially reused commercial for what we like to call the community section. I guess we don't call it that. We don't have a name for it, but there's a lot of fun stuff after the break. Maybe, call your mom, tell you love her during the break, or just listen to the commercial. I don't know. We'll see you soon.
Greetings. My name? Well, my name is not important. What is important is that I am a fur trader. I own and operate the fur stall in the greatest city of all of Gillinor. Ardugni. Let's just call it Artie. I own the fur stall in the greatest city of all of Gillinor, Artie. Whether you're looking for bear fur, wolf fur, or an assortment of other furs which I don't keep in stock, I've got you covered. Hold on. Can you stop running on my stall? Every day, it's the same thing. Inconsiderate lap junkies take it upon themselves to use my stall as part of their course. You know how many times I've had to repair this stall? 3 times, just this week. And the city guards are oblivious too. It really feels like all of their time is spent guarding the baker's stall and his cakes. Does all that theft bother me? Nah, I don't worry about it too much. My eyes are locked on my stall. No one's stealing anything on my watch. Huh? Yeah, furs. Anyway, if you're in the market for a fur, come on down to my stall. In the greatest city of all of Gillinor. Ardugni.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that commercial break because I know that I sure did. It's part of the show now where we're going to take a few minutes to stop and thank our patrons. Give a couple shout outs here for the people who make some things really possible. Like I just bought my last plane ticket that I needed to go to RuneFest. That's because of you guys supporting us on Patreon, making the show better, allowing Oxie and I to do fun things that we do for the show and have upgrades like these wonderful microphones that sometimes work and sometimes don't. We're going to figure that out. Anyway, I want to take a second to thank our Wise Old Man patrons. You guys are on the screen now. We didn't actually have any new Wise Old Man patrons this week, but did want to stop and thank all of the current Wise Old Man patrons who continue to support us on Patreon. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. You guys are wonderful. We can't read all of your names out one by one, but what we can do is give you the recognition you deserve here on the screen now. You guys are the bread and butter, the peanut butter to our jelly, and muchos to all of our Wise Old Man patrons. Now I'm going to take a second to thank the KBD patrons, and they get an actual name. They get a shout out by name. So we always start at the top of the list. Today is no different. So big shout out and thank you to Apathy, Boston Sport 5, Brooks 70, Chaos Cleric. Just say Chaos Cleric today. Nothing special there. Oxie's dad, my dad, all of our dad. Cloud Kicker, Corpse Fiance, Damon S, Dicky Bird, Elite Oreo Dunker, MT Virchfield, Oxie Come Back to Bed 666. Our third favorite Patreon supporter, Ralph, Run Metal 15, Soggy Waffles, Seppi J, Sparky Life, Swoles, mostly free pre-bingo BA services. Mostly free. The Big G Jordy, and the Crayola Tallymorn. Again, thank you so much to all of our KBD patrons. You guys are amazing. Muchos. If you want to join these folks here and support the show, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Xpwaste. You'll have access to a lot of different perks and at a lot of different, tiers, if you will. One of our favorite tiers is starting at the Wise Old Man tier, where you get access to the recording booth. If you've been listening to Xpwaste for any amount of time, you will have noticed that we reference the recording booth chat quite often. And that's because essentially they are like the third host of the show. You guys
Don't
are the
give
voices.
him that kind of power.
I was going to say like the silent third host, but we generally read a lot of stuff that happens in the recording booth. If it's contributing to the show and we feel strongly about it, we can say like Chaos Clerk just says woohoo, and Boston Sports says we have the power. So you guys want to join them, hop in the booth while we record. You get to listen to the show before it gets released and have access to some pretty fun people to hang out with. And you'll get to like maybe hear some behind the scenes stuff. So you have access to that starting at the Wise Old Man tier, which of course gives you access at the KBD tier as well. The Party Pete tier is a kind of a sleeper tier, if you ask me. That one gives you access to a pretty extensive backlog of extra episodes. From the start of the Patreon, we were doing an extra episode every month. That stopped for a while Oxie and I kind of figured out what that means for us is in terms of content. But we picked it back up this year and we're doing an extra episode stream. If you're part of the Party Pete tier, you'll have access to our backlog of episodes that we have posted on Patreon, as well as any new streams that we do specifically for our patrons once a month. So, join at any tier you'd like, and we'll see you there, patreon.com/Xpwaste. Transitioning now over to the community question. So this is going to be a fun one. It's a little bit niche in the sense of like, if you don't really care about completionist content, maybe you don't have a lot to say, but there are a few responses we'll have to get to. Last week, we asked you guys, what would a completionist cape look like in OSRS if you could add one yourself? Starting us off with Potato Pancake, they said a completionist cape should be acquired by acquiring all capes. Now the question is, do we add another cape to the game to cover dead zones that don't have capes? Examples would be minigame or raids.
We have raid capes.
We do have raids capes. So maybe they mean like if you've participated in all of the raids, or
we have capes that show that.
No. I'm talking about one cape. I don't know. I don't want to like break down their answer because like they're kind of vague. But like, does he mean if you've gotten KC in TOA, TOB, and Chambers, does that complete the raid cape? Because what you're talking about is like the different KC tier capes. We have those, yes, but we don't have one specific raid cape or minigame cape. It's a interesting way of looking at it. D4 Drake says a grand cape that is made of a shattered glowing light, kind of like Seren, and it has flowing animations similar to the psionic stalker cloak from Destiny. 1 second while I look that up. Psionic stalker cloak. Well, that's pretty cool. A glowing cape would be cool. I know that there's a couple capes in the game that glow right now currently with if you have like the 117. Mm-hmm. So having that be behind you would be pretty neat. I think this is how you say their name, Enji? Enejj. Enej? Anyway, they say a comp cape should require the capes, the following capes: the achievement cape, the quest cape, max cape, skull capes, champions cape, music cape, raid capes, and Zuckhelm. No added benefit other than an emote, and should be all the skulls, champions, raids, transmogs of a max cape. I don't know what they mean by the skull capes. Maybe those are like
wins, probably.
Oh, right. Okay. Damn. Really are like a well-rounded account, because like 1,000 LMS wins. Right? Oh my goodness. Sure. I mean, the definition of completionist is you've done the game. Chris S says, I want my character to have a really snotty, high-stepping walk animation. Really snooty high walk, a high-step animation. Like, you're just like, I'm better than everyone. Next up, Fizzman15 says, agree with Oxie. It should be about finishing the game. But my controversial take is that the collection log slots should not be a part of it. It should be RNG independent. So many thoughts. That is an interesting thought. Because I don't know what the RS3 one looks like, but I'm fairly certain there are things in the RS3 cape that are RNG dependent. But RNG independent would be cool because literally it's not about like a grind cape. It's about completing content. So definitely something to look into. I usually say OC Dam in this when I read these, but they've put their username. Damnation7 says, I'm sorry, but it has to be maxed plus clogs, including pets. I want to hear like 10 years from now that someone has finally got it. I think it would be sick. Much love. Damnation. I think that's Damnation.
I recognize the name from the bingo draft, but I had no idea that was the same person.
Right on. Dinosaur says Comp Cape 100% needs to require a green log in everything except Clue Mega Rares. All pets, Zuck Helm, Quiver, Infernal Cape. You have completed OSRS. It should show your prowess in all aspects. Preston says my Completionist Cape would be all the skills on the back of the cape in like a puzzle form. Each skill is puzzled together. It would be cool with all the different colors, and you should be able to move them all around.
Like a nice quilt.
Yeah. And finally on Spotify, Oxie's Cuddle Buddy 666 says, I would love to see them mix some of the capes to make something new. Add some stuff from Castle Wars to bring back some stuff, or bring back some stuff from Clan Wars. Said they want to mix capes. That's interesting. Because like, I don't know, like, yeah, I guess there already is like the mechanic that if you don't do a quest, you don't get your quest cape, but then you don't also have your Completionist Cape because you, again, haven't completed the game. That's what's so hard about the Completionist Cape, I think, is there's so much new content always getting released that you could have a Completionist Cape and like you're a god essentially, and then a new fetch quest comes out like Children of the Sun, and you're like, you haven't completed the game.
I mean, yeah, but like that's easy to redo. No one complains when they lose their quest cape or something like that, you know?
Right. It just seems kind of silly. We asked you guys the same question. We're moving over to your YouTube account. We asked you the same question. What would a Completionist Cape look like in OSRS if you could add one for yourself? First up, Benny B says, I feel like if you can get the comp cape, then it should be fully customizable. It's hard earned right at that point. I think it should be too. That's a great point because in RS3, you can make your max cape pretty customized. And so I feel like if they do a Completionist Cape, it would be cool if it looked like a trimmed max cape essentially, but then you could change the colors up and kind of make it look however you want. Fizzman15 on YouTube says, this follows up my Spotify response. He says, I was an RS3 player before I got into old school, and I've always wanted to get their Completionist Cape. So it's been on my mind to try and bring it into OSRS. Comp Cape should require all quests done, all skills at 99, mini quests done, all mini games done at least once. Example is Inferno or the Colosseum. Clue scroll milestones reached, all combat achievements, all diaries, and all music tracks. And other completable achievements. It shouldn't require clog slots. If new things are added to the game, it's unequipped in the same way as the quest cape. The reward should be functionally the same as the max cape, but with the ability to add all the diary reward items to gain their effect. It's meant to be the most OP item. I kind of agree with that in the sense that, like, I don't know. I feel like I would want them to make it RNG independent. Like you wouldn't need to grind out and green log clues, for instance, or green log different bosses. But it's definitely a contender because a lot of people I think want it to be a reflection of the collection log more so than just like completing the game. Now, interestingly enough, Mod Husky, I think, during his Game Jam week this week, is trying to figure out a way to showcase collection log progress and potentially even making a collection log's high score. So we may not even need to add the collection log to the Completionist Cape if they made one, just for that reason that they're kind of separate right now. We have a couple more here on YouTube. Oxie's Sweaty Elitist Chair says, I would implement a fully custom cape. You would have worked so hard for a Completionist Cape that it should be catered to each individual. Want a Champion's Cape with a quiver on it? Done. White and gold Infernal Cape? You got it. Want your cape to be sweaty and elitist like me? No problem. That would actually be cool. Like if you could transmog the cape, but then customize it fully. Miss Neptuna says, as for a comp cape, I've always had the idea that the cape would be rewarded after maxing, completing all the diaries and all the quests. The comp cape would be created by using all the capes on one another to combine them and reap all of the effects. I've never considered the idea of having the collection log completed, as that seemed completely unattainable. And finally, on YouTube, Jake says, okay, excellent question as always. I would say you can do anything you want in the game, everything besides spawn items in, so teleport anywhere on the map in a click. It is a bit broken, but no one is getting that cape for years to come. So if a player does somehow get it, they should essentially be a mod in the game. Boys, I'm talking you can spawn in at any boss. You can spawn in any boss of the GE, unpack any weapon or potion from the bank. Seriously broken, but it's better to make it crazy OP than to nerf it if need be. So that would be my suggestion. Has to be 100% collection log too. You're welcome and good luck on maxing Oxie. Michael, please have Oxie read the first letter of all the above lines. Bus go beep. So if you read the lines down on his paragraph, it said Oxie's bussy. All right, bus go beep. That was clever. That's going to do it for the community question, guys. Thank you so much to everyone who answered it. If you want to answer this week's question, it would be, what are your thoughts on the new Herblore, the new proposed Herblore activity? And do you think you should have to use your own herbs? You can answer that question on the community question section on Spotify or the pinned comment of this YouTube video. I think Oxie's done with Achievement of the Week now, so I'm going to toss it over to him for that section.
Hello, it's Achievement of the Week time. We don't actually have any miscellaneous achievements this week. So if you got a quest cape or a diary cape or a music cape this week, I apologize because I did not see it in levels and achievements. But yeah, no miscellaneous this week, which is okay. It's very pre-bingo-esque right now. A lot of the level achievements that have been coming in are not 99s. We do have a couple, so we'll get into skilling right now, but we definitely have more combat going into bingo. So kicking things off with skilling, Kaiga Sales achieved 99 attack, strength, and defense. Rip Riley achieved 99 prayer. Green Ben achieved 99 attack. Flagrant Beef achieved 99 magic and 99 attack. Blastoise level 99 achieved 99 defense, attack, slayer, and magic. The Big G Jordy achieved 99 range. Hunchy 34 achieved 99 attack and 99 defense. A name we've not shouted out on Achievement of the Week for getting a 99 in a really, really long time, and I thought it would be fun. Jamie. Jamie's alt got 99 mining. Just mining amethyst. So Jamie's been maxed for a while now. So Jamie's alt got 99 mining. Good job, Jamie. Again. A Frightened Couch achieved 99 strength, defense, and attack. Russ of Fury achieved 99 smithing. Almost maxed. Elvis J achieved 99 construction. Sibling achieved 99 fletching. Kymageddon achieved 99 prayer. And Chad McSquill, just as we hit record, achieved 99 hit points. A couple total levels this week. Morehouse and Avengor both achieved 2k total level. Submedian achieved 2100 total level. And Trash Pats achieved 2200 total level. There are two more total level achievements that we do have to shout out this week. Both Lagging and I believe it's pronounced Oska or Oskin in Discord. Lagging and Oskin both achieved 2277 total level this week. I believe Oskin or Oska, I don't think I've ever said his name out loud before, got 99 thieving at the party room, and Lagging got 99 woodcutting, farming, herblore, agility, thieving, and rune crafting. Popped them all at one time and got 2277 total right there. So congratulations to you guys. You can play the game, and you don't have to run agility or mine ever again. You don't have to. You can if you want to. You really don't have to. Moving into combat, this is how you know bingo is on the way. When the more people start to do combat, the more you know bingo season is cooking. We've got 5 new fire capes this week. ADHD AF, which is a fantastic name. Duke Silver, Dan Mako 22, Pellick, and broke 70 all achieved a fire cape for the first time on their accounts. Congratulations. It's a huge upgrade before bingo. Huge upgrade. In the vein of firsts, we do have quite a few. D-Rabbit17 killed Zulra for the first time. Ivy Davy and a guy named Sparry killed the Gauntlet for the first time. And Last Plague, Grimmin, Unwise Nick, and Blastoise level 99 all defeated the Corrupted Gauntlet for the first time. We've had a couple people getting their first raid KCs in all 3 raids this week. You guys are prepping in the right ways to go to bingo. Knowing how to do the content, or at least being familiar with the content, is so big going into a bingo event. And now's the perfect time to do it. Moving on, I think we have one of each of the other categories that we tend to talk about. So, Melvin Man, aka Air Quotes, completed his medium combat achievement diary. Kaiga Sales with a double-double this week got his Missouri kit. Cloudwin, after 200 plus deaths, was yapping his way through the Coliseum and finally got a quiver. Congratulations to you, Cloud. And after spending several hours in the greatest piece of content in the world, the most fun, the least frustrating, least prone to give you nightmares and embarrass yourself in front of people piece of content ever, my boy Mudborn finally achieved his Infernal Cape. Congratulations. I cannot stress this enough for first Infernal Capers on this show. You will never be that stressed about anything in this game ever again. I guarantee it. You will not feel that kind of pressure from a piece of content as you do from your first Infernal Cape. And you've done it now. It's over. It actually happened. Today's Sunday. It happened last night. I hopped into VC when I heard it happen, and I celebrated with them for a little bit there. They were all marching around Moral Wreck, and they're matching capes and all that. So congratulations to you, Mud, and congratulations to everyone who did something awesome this week on Achievement of the Week. If you did something awesome and you want to let us know about it, head over to discord.gg/OSRSTNL and post in the Levels and Achievements chat. Things are going to get quiet in the coming week. If this is your first time listening and you're like, oh, Oxie said it's like super popular and all that, and I want to like join VC and hang out, you're going to notice a distinct lack of folks, because there are 3 VCs that are full to the brim right now with raiders and people doing content and people being social and all that, in addition to the folks hanging out with us here in the recording booth chat. Next week starts bingo, and people will be in their own bingo chats. So if you show up this week for the first time and you're like, these lion sons of bitches, there's nobody here. There's a lot of people here. You probably just can't see the VCs that they're in because you don't have the bingo roll because you didn't sign up for bingo if you're just joining this week. But I promise you, soon after bingo, the people will return and you'll be able to hang out and do all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, that's Achievement of the Week. Come hang out. I believe it is time that I ask the final question of this episode. And that is, Michael, my friend, do you have a fun question for us this week?
I do indeed.
I thought he was going to say, I do not. I was going to say, well, that's the episode then. See y'all later.
So I have yet another week. I have failed to go to the post office. So we're going to go and grab one from our fun questions section on Discord, where Genker has posted. This was earlier this month, actually. They posted in the Xpwaste chat, and I went ahead and screenshotted it for later. But they asked, I'm a new listener and started, well, from the start. So I don't know if this has been asked yet. As I am currently doing achievement diaries, my question would be, if your hometown or state had an achievement diary, what would some tasks be, and what would the rewards of that diary be? I think I do remember you answering this one.
I think I chatted about it in the Xpwaste chat.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Something about Michigan. But an achievement diary for your home state or your hometown. I think without getting too specific, I'm just going to go home state.
Yeah,
you all know that
yeah, that's way 100%. I think home state's way better.
You guys know I'm from Texas. You guys know Oxie's from Michigan. So, home state. I think some interesting tasks would be to visit Austin and float down the river in San Marcos as a task. Just because I think that's a really fun experience to do as a Texan or as a tourist, I guess, if you're coming to the city. And then as a general task, eat some Texas barbecue. I don't know if you want to do that while you're in Austin or just find another city, but maybe get some brisket or some turkey or sausage if that's your fancy, but just eat some Texas barbecue. I think you will not be disappointed. And what's another good one for the home state? Maybe survive outside for longer than 10 minutes in 100-degree plus weather, because that is a staple of my home state, is that the fact that it is hot during the summer. The first couple summers that I actually moved here, we had a record-breaking 100 days straight where it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit in Texas. And I that might have been broken last year because if my memory serves me, it was 100 degrees in October. I kid you not. So it gets hot. And Chaos Cleric asked in the recording booth, said, humidity or no humidity? I mean, we get like 50 or 60%. It's not the 80% that Oxie was talking about today in Michigan, but like it does get pretty humid. If you're standing in the shade, you are sweating. It's not like a dry Arizona heat. But what would be a good reward? Maybe if this is like fictional, maybe you would have access to a speed train or like a bullet train where you could get from city to city really quickly. I think that would be cool. Once you've done all the Texas things, now you can actually ride the bullet train between the cities. And like I could live in Austin and work in Houston or work in El Paso, but I would have access to all the different cities, because Texas is massive. You can drive, I think, from east to west like 17 or 18 hours of straight driving at like your average speed of like 60 or 70, and it takes that long to get. And maybe it's not east to west, maybe it's north to south, but like it's massive. It's huge. Large, I should say. Yeah, so that is, I probably could think of some more, but Oxie, what are you cooking with here?
I'm vaguely thinking of a task and a diary reward for each tier. So
for each tier. Nice.
Yeah, so an easy task in Michigan is to complain about the weather. You get bonus achievement diary points if specifically you say it's really not that cold if there wasn't so much wind, or it really wouldn't be that bad if it wasn't so humid. Those complaints specifically are going to help you check off the easy diary, no problem. An easy diary reward for the state of Michigan, you feel 5% warmer or 5% colder, depending on what it's like outside. But it's determined in the morning when you wake up, which is really a problem in Michigan. So the easy diary perk isn't great, so you want to do more. Medium diary perk in the state of Michigan, I think medium diary perk is correctly predict who gets the Paul Bunyan trophy from a team that you've supported for a long time. So not just like flipping based on the odds, right? So correctly predict that either Michigan or Michigan State is going to get the Paul Bunyan trophy when they face each other in college football. That's a medium task because the odds lean towards Michigan, but it truly depends on the year. This past year was real bad for the Spartans. It was a real rough year. Between us being in shambles with our head coach who was cranking his shaft on the phone to somebody, which was not okay, and then Michigan scouting our entire offense like the cheaters that they are, it didn't help us out when we had to play them because we pretty much had to throw the whole playbook out. But my gripes about college football aside, I think a good medium diary perk would be that state, local, and county parks or whatever like that are now free to access. So you have a permanent park sticker on the upper left-hand corner of your car. So you can get into any park for free, which will help you immensely with the hard diary task, which is to spend at least half an hour in each of the 5 Great Lakes. And I know what you're thinking to yourself. That's not really an issue because, like, I go to a Great Lake every year. You go to one Great Lake every year. You have a cabin by Lake Michigan or Lake Huron or maybe Lake Superior. But I bet you don't have a cabin by Lake Ontario. That's the antithesis of going up north. To go southeast, don't bullshit me, right? So spend about a half an hour in each of the Great Lakes. That's a hard task. And oh, wow, I swear to God, I had something for this. Oh, a hard task reward is Detroit sports teams are now 20% more likely to not be total dog shit. Which, like, I understand as a Lions fan, that's how that sounds. The Lions are cracked. I love the Lions to death. Rest in peace, the Detroit Pistons, because we're doing real bad. And I don't think the Red Wings made the playoffs. And the Wings are a staple in NHL playoffs. So the fact that we didn't make it, that's a huge L right there. The Elite Diary task is kind of tough. I think a good Elite Diary task for the state of Michigan is it's kind of a niche Elite Diary task, right? I have 2 in mind. The first is to swim the Mackinac Straits from one side to the other, which is an extraordinarily difficult task. I've not done it, so I don't even know if it's possible, but swim the Mackinac Straits and or hit every brewery and winery on, God, what is it called? The peninsula, the Grand Traverse Peninsula, whatever it's called. I'm blanking on the name. What the hell? I'm blanking on the name. What's it called? Basically, in Traverse City, there's a peninsula that sticks off on the western half of Michigan, and it's where you just go to get totally Xpwasted with wine. That is how you that's the task. You have to make it. You have to survive that without dying. You have to get like a flight at every winery, brewery, distillery, and not die without leaving the wilderness, kind of a thing. Like you can't go back to your hotel. So that's an elite task. And the reward is you're immune. More specifically, your vehicle is immune to pothole damage.
Ooh.
That's an Elite Diary reward for the state of Michigan right there. So all my Michiganders, we now have the diary task complete. Funny enough, I don't even have the Michigan Elite Diary done because I've yet to survive the... God, what is the name of that peninsula? It's going to drive me insane. I don't know. Leelanau Peninsula. Holy shit. I've yet to survive every winery, brewery, and distillery on the Leelanau Peninsula and in that whole area. And my fat ass definitely hasn't swam the Mackinac Straits. But that's what you get from good old Mitten State right there.
I love it.
And the item that gets upgraded every single time is a nice jacket. Not one that's like too warm, right? But like it's a nice jacket. It'll keep you warm enough, but you can also take it off and be fine. You know, like you wouldn't wear it during the day, but you could wear it by a bonfire in the summer. And then if you were just running out to your car really quick in the winter, it's a jacket that would suffice enough, so you're not going out without a shirt on. Not that you need to wear a shirt to go outside in the snow anyway, but like you know what I mean. You know, it's just a nice enough jacket.
I love it. I kind of wish I did easy through Elite, but you know, no time for that because that would take a lot of thinking. Whenever I saw this question in the Xpwaste chat, I kind of ignored it for knowing that we would talk about it on the show. So I didn't any prior knowledge. So yeah, thank you, Gengar. I think it's how you Gengar. It's Genker, but their picture is like a funny picture of Gengar. Thank you for the fun question. If you want to ask us a fun question, you can do so many, many different ways. You can ask us on our social media. You can DM us there. You can post it in the Xpwaste chat on Discord. You can send us a postcard. You can email it to us. You can send it by carrier pigeon. I don't know if the pigeon would know where to go. If you find us in game, you can obviously ask us there. Many different ways. So send us your fun questions. It'll be great. That's going to do it for the show, guys. A little bit of a shorter one this week. But, in the spirit of the bingo, I think we needed to get prepared. We need this week to mentally prepare for next week when we likely won't have an episode. I don't know if we've talked about it or not, but generally the week of bingo, we take off from not having an episode because the next week is Oxie's editing week. And I don't think he wants to be sitting there for several hours editing an episode when he could be doing raids. And I surely would not either.
This is going to be great when I tell Michael the Sunday following bingo. Bingo ends on Mother's Day. So brace yourself to record on a Monday night, baby.
We got to do what we got to do. So we may not see you guys next week. We may. We haven't decided. But I'm just going to go out on a little limb here and say we're not going to want to do an episode next week. So we may see you in 2 weeks. But if we do catch you next week, we'll catch you next week. If we don't, we won't. So follow us on our social media. All of that stuff is linked in the description. We have a merch store that we haven't talked about in a while, but there are still some brand new designs up there. And if I get some creative juices flowing, maybe I'll add some more. And we'll let you guys know about that. That's xpwaste.shop. We have some really great hoodies. I know it's not really like cold weather now, but if you're south of the equator, baby, that's coming up. So get those hoodies ready for those cold Australian winters, I guess, in July. We have our Twitch channel that I didn't stream on this week because I was sick as a dog. And you may have noticed I'm a little bit more nasally this episode, and that's because I'm still kind of sick. So I didn't stream on it, and I may stream on it next week during bingo. That would be kind of fun. So catch that, twitch.tv/the Xpwaste podcast. Name is subject to change. We'll find out whenever we can actually change that. So remember to subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, follow us on Spotify, rate us on Spotify, rate us on Apple Music, and check out the Patreon. You guys are amazing, and we will see you guys another time. Bye-bye.